everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Rosie and I am a graduate who's trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. After I finished my undergraduate degree, one of my most requested videos was about how to write a dissertation, and I came up with this video. Having now finished my master's as well, I thought it was about time that I started making some new content on writing a thesis that compiles everything I've learned over the 2 degrees. In this video, I am going to be sharing 5 tips and tricks to help you start your research project.
Take my hand and hold it tight.
Full disclosure, this video has been very kindly sponsored by Lateral, and Lateral is an all-in-one solution for anyone who needs to read and review documents effectively. I'll be discussing Lateral more in just a minute. So, number 1, research technique. You need to find a technique for locating sources that is going to work for you. And the best one that I have found is snowballing. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, you read one book, this may be a key text or textbook, you look at the references in that book, and then you go and read all of those references that you think are relevant. In those ones that you found, you do it again, you look at their reference lists, and so on until you've pretty much exhausted all of the sources. This is obviously going to be time consuming, as is any form of research where you've got to do a lot of reading, but trust me, this is the most logical way to do it. Once you then have some articles or chapters that you need to read, it is so important to keep them organized. And this leads me on to point number 2, reference and file organization. I just did not do this at undergraduate. I read things, I added them to my list, and then I lost them. At Masters, what I did instead is made a reference index like this. This is my actual reference index, and it matched up to a filing system on my OneDrive. So every time you download a PDF, number it as to what it is going to be in your lit index, and I find it is easier to save it as what would be your in-text reference, especially if you come down the line and realize that you've written things in your text that you know have a reference that you've read, you just can't remember which one it is. You can then come through and read these summaries. As you can see on here, I've got a summary for each thing in my index, and it just helps you to re-identify what those references might actually be. This is also where Lateral comes in. Once you have your PDFs, you can upload them to a project in Lateral, and then you can either search within each PDF or an overall search of all of your PDFs for specific key themes and topics. And while yes, you're still going to have to read the whole document, because if you want to have a well-rounded piece of research, you need to make sure you properly understand everything you read. This will save so much time. It's essentially like doing a Control F of a PDF, but with sprinkles, whipped cream, marshmallows, and sauce on top.
Just raw sauce.
Hi, I'm actually currently editing, so this is me from the future. And I just realised that past me forgot one of the most useful aspects of Lateral. I'm gonna tell you about that now. I also just had some really amazing news that I cannot wait to tell you, but unfortunately I'm gonna keep to myself for a little bit longer, but watch out for that video. So basically, one of the things that I struggled with, I think most, or took the longest during research, is just trying to get through an entire article and then remembering where each bit went and splitting it into the key themes, like, you know, the abstract, the methodology, the discussion, and the results, just so that you can more easily visualize what the article's actually telling you. And something you can do with Lateral is highlight those sections. So like if I highlighted the abstract, I could then add that highlighted section to a concepts table, and it just means that I open the table and I see right there in front of me the summary of that paper. In a methods box, I could have the key methodologies, so that if, say, in your literature review you're assessing whether methods used were useful, or if you're comparing methods that you're about to use, you'll see all of the methods used in each paper, and it's just really easy to then compare them between papers, but also compare it to your own. Currently, Lateral is in its beta testing phase, so it is free to use right now, and you can have up to 2,000 pages for free. That is 2,000 pages of PDF. So make sure you make the most of it. If you want 500 extra pages for free, so on top of your free 2,000, you can go to the link in the description. It's just my like refer a friend link. You get 500 pages, I also get 500 pages. Number 3, making a Gantt chart. Now, if you're anything like me, you'll probably be thinking, what on earth is a Gantt chart, Rosie? Well, I didn't know either until I started my masters. I'd never seen one before and I was adamant that it was the worst thing I'd ever seen and it wasn't going to help me in the slightest. I was wrong. Now a Gantt chart is something that you should probably be doing way before you start anything else. But if you forget or if you've already started your thesis and you haven't done one yet, that's fine. They're flexible. That's the whole point and that is why they're good. Find a template on Google. Don't try and make one yourself unless you're an absolute whiz. You're better than me. I found a template on Google. They basically allow you to form a flexible calendar and long-term plan of what you actually need to do, and it really helps you visualize everything that has to be gotten done. What's particularly useful about a Gantt chart when you're doing a long-term research project is you can add stuff that isn't strictly part of that research. So say you had a module, say you had a family holiday, you can add that on the Gantt chart and it just means you can really see actually how much time you have and how much time needs to be blocked out for other things. It might actually not work for you at all, but I'm a very visual person and I get very overwhelmed if I can't see exactly how much I have to do in front of me. Number 4, chunking. Now I'm not talking about that division method that you did in primary school.
Quick maths!
I'm talking about chunking your to-do lists. Chunking is all about breaking down your to-do lists and your long list of things you have to do into smaller, manageable pieces. It's like when you buy a pack of bourbons and you sit with the whole thing in front of you and it seems massive.
But then actually you take 3, then you take 3 more, and suddenly the whole pack's gone.
What are you talking about? You do talk so
Your daily to-do list shouldn't have really long projects on it. I would really recommend not adding entire thesis chapters or entire assignments to your to-do list because it is just, for me it's completely demotivating and it's really overwhelming. Instead what I would do is I'd put opening paragraph of introduction, middle section of introduction, or for me because I did smallpox I would have smallpox warfare paragraph, introduction to smallpox on bone paragraph, and it just means that you can have so many little wins instead of having to wait ages to get one big one. The more you chunk, the more you can tick off, the more immediate gratification you get, and just generally the more motivated you stay because you're constantly achieving things. And you can just really visualize how all of these little things are building up to make your long-term goal. On a similar note, I would then split your daily to-do list into lists of 3. A list of 3 is a separate thing and should only include the 3 items on your to-do list that you absolutely have to get done that day. It really helps you to prioritize what has to be done. It doesn't have to be academic work. It could literally be taking the bins out. Put anything on there that you're gonna forget to do or struggle to get done in that day. It can't be something that you enjoy doing because you're going to do it anyway. Put it on there as something you have to do first, get it out of the way, and then by the end of the day you're not left with only the things that you absolutely hate doing or are a big stress to you to do. Number 5. Perfectionism is your absolute worst enemy. That was a bit Boris-like.
To slow the spread of the disease.
Never doing that again. I've literally given myself the ick. If you have something to write about, write it. Don't dwell on it. Don't try and make it perfect the first time you write it. Don't rewrite it 6 times because it doesn't sound right. If it's in your head, you have an idea, write it down and move on. Trust me, it will be quicker in the long term. Even if you come back to it the next day and hate it, you'll know what you were thinking and you'll understand your thought process. It's so much better for your mental health, but also for your overall progress if you're just writing down everything that you think as it comes, in a sort of flow. I've not quite mastered this one yet.
2 plus 2 equals 6. And let me tell you why it equals 6. Because look at this. There are 2 2's. So therefore there is an additional 2 that no one talks about because the government.
Thank you for so much. Thank you for so much. Thank you.
For what?
Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any tips and tricks in the comments and I will see you in my next one. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Bye! This is so far away. I can't reach.